Okay, well let's get going. First of all, thank you all for the gift of your time being here with me this afternoon. The last couple of weeks when we've done one of these Facebook Lives, we've talked about the idea of building our resilience, being in a coherent state, finding ways to do that through sitting in stillness and silence and all. Sorry, something popped up on my phone there. And today I kind of want to continue with that, and that's this idea of our emotions and how they play such a big part in our ability to get in this coherent state, to build our resilience, especially in these very difficult and challenging and unfamiliar times that we find ourselves in. And, it's the emotions we are experiencing, they're human emotions. They're, really okay to have them. But kind of what we do with them and how we use them as an ally instead of a deficit is important. So I want to start with a quote, and it comes from the plastic surgeon Maxwell Maltz. And he said that happiness is native to the human mind and its physical machine. And so if you think about that, the mind and this vessel that we get to live our lives in, it's very natural. The human being wants to be happy. And he goes on to say that we think better, perform better, and feel better when we're happy. And, happy isn't everything. We're not going to be happy every moment of every day. That's just not possible. But really, that's the positive emotion, that renewing emotion that's so important when we can find those emotions and be happy when we can. In policing, especially for a long time, we were taught to not bring our emotions to work. Check those at the door is kind of what they always told us. And really, we know today that is absolutely not possible. It doesn't work that way. Actually, what we do when we think we're checking our emotions at the door, we are actually just suppressing them. We're just pushing them down. And we know anything under pressure, eventually what's it going to do? It's coming out. And it's going to come out really at a time that probably doesn't serve us very well. So we talked last week about mindfulness and being present moment awareness. So it's not about, being detached from our emotions. It's not about being swamped by our emotions, but it's really about using our emotions to inform reason. And that really is kind of this idea of, intelligently, regulating this energy management that we have. Because there's no doubt, science tells us now that, our emotions are the biggest drain on us. I tell the story in class a lot of times, my wife, Carol, she loves to do CrossFit. And, now she calls it Grandma CrossFit because you're never going to see her on ESPN. It's not that. But I watch her do these insane workouts. And at the end, she's laying, on the gym floor, exhausted in a puddle of sweat. But in an hour, she's so renewed and invigorated. But then we think about people who are carrying emotional baggage around for years and days, or for years, even decades at time. I remember in class one time we had a young officer, and really probably not a young officer, probably a kind of middle tenured officer, and she stood up in class one time and she just started, kind of spewing, these things that had happened to her. And I looked at the other instructor that was with me and I was like, wow, did that happen yesterday? Or was that last week? Or when was that? Come to find out it was a decade ago. And she was carrying that emotion around with her. And it's just such a huge drain on us. And today where we're at, with all the emotions of everything we're feeling, of, at times feeling probably like we're cooped up at home, the kids are here constantly and we're trying to help them, we're trying to work, we're trying to do all these things, the emotions can just overload us. So how do we begin to think about what this means? In Martin Seligman's book, Flourishing, he helps us understand if we really want to get to well-being. And, and resilience, coherence is all part of that. He talks about this idea of a flourishing life. And he gives us a little acronym to help us remember what it is. And that's PERMA. And it stands for, the P is for positive emotions, so we can experience those. And that's really what I'm going to talk about today. The E is for engagement, engaging in things in our life, not just, checking out, which at times, I know sometimes we want to do. And every once in a while, that's okay. check out and veg out and watch television. All that's fine. It's just not living our lives there. It's about the positive relationships we have in our life, especially in policing. The job is hard on relationships. This time we find on ourselves in today, can be really hard on relationships. So what are we doing to nurture and take care of those relationships, the people that we love, say we love and care about the most? So we have to take care of those relationships. Finding meaning in life and purpose. As Simon Sinek, he talks about the big, deep, burning why. What gets us going? Why do we get up out of bed every morning and do the things we do? And really, why should anybody care? And then the last one, the A, is for a sense of accomplishment. To know that we're good at something and to achieve things in our lives. And when we can put this perma together, that's really about flourishing. And I saw that, I think probably Jocelyn on our team put up a link to a few things if you're interested in what we're talking about, so you can continue to dive deeper in this. And I think one of the links she put up was to Martin Seligman's book and also probably to Sean Acor's book, The Happiness Advantage. Amazing read, great read. Also, I think there's a link to his TED Talk that's on there. One of the most viewed TED Talks of all time is there. Many of you that have been to a Blue Courage class, you've seen it, but it's always a great reminder for that. So let's talk about depleting and renewing emotions. Notice that I didn't say good or bad, because these are not good or bad emotions. They're just depleting or renewing emotion. Healthy, unhealthy, if they're taken to extreme. So when we're talking about these depleting emotions, these constant energy drains, because that's what they are when they're depleting. These constant drains, and you think about what they lead to burnout. Even just yesterday, Carol told me, she goes, I think I'm beginning to get really tired of this being stuck at home stuff. And I was like, I get it. It's a challenge, no doubt. And so those are those constant energy drains of feeling, captive in our homes. Leads to mistakes and to errors. Our performance isn't as good. And make no mistake, these emotions can present a healthcare challenge to us. And so keep that in mind. This isn't just about the psyche. This is about this physical machine as well when we're doing that. So these depleting emotions, things like fear and frustration and impatience and anger, these are toxic. Again, if we hang on to them too long. One of our teammates yesterday put something on Facebook that she was really sad, just a lot going on, a lot of people in her life affected by the virus and everything. And I commented back to her, I said, it's okay to be sad. It's a human emotion. There's nothing wrong with being sad. Now, do you want to stay there? Well, of course not. Acknowledge, that feeling that we're having, that emotion that we're going through, acknowledge it, and then look for ways to begin to move past it. And so when we're in this toxic feeling of these depleting emotions, they just hang on forever. This neurochemical process that's going on causes physical issues. I mean, over long term, our muscle mass can be reduced, brain cells begin to die. Our memory is affected from it, accelerated aging. All these types of things are a challenge for us and things that we have to remember. But here's the big King's X. The emotions are one thing, but when we lay drama on top of it, and let's be realistic, right now, is there a lot of drama? All you got to do is turn on the news, and there's just all kinds of drama going on. And when we put the drama on top of it, that's just the big multiplication factor that just blows this out of the water and makes it so unhealthy for us. Now, the good news is that we don't have to live there. If we choose to, and it's a choice, it's what Viktor Frankl called the last human freedom, the freedom to choose. Look, we can't control what's going on out there in the world. We can do the things we can do to help mitigate it, no doubt about that, but we can't control it. But we have the ability to choose how we respond to it. So, what are the renewing emotions? To have courage, and I'm going to talk more about courage towards the end here just a little bit, because I think that's really important. Because without courage, being able to put ourselves out there a little bit, to have these positive emotions can be really challenging. Even just tolerance, being able to tolerate some of the things that are happening now. Can be renewing emotion. To have appreciation for it. I saw a post today from a friend that said, what if on the other side of what we're going on to today, kids learn today how to enjoy doing something as simple as playing in the backyard. Something as simple as looking out the window and enjoy watching the birds. To enjoy spending time with family instead of go, just constantly. And when we're able to experience these renewing emotions, our health just turns on its end. And, we live longer, our resiliency increases, we're able to solve problems better, we're more intuitive, which means when, Carol's not happy with me, I can feel it and I can know it without her having to tell me, and I can begin to solve that problem, apologize for whatever I did, even if I don't know what it is. I can do those things when I'm able to be in touch with the renewing emotions. And one of the things that Sean Achor gives us in his TED Talk and in his book, Happiness Advantage, is 5 ways to rewire our brain to find positivity. Because believe it or not, we can learn to do that. Again, if we choose to, it is a choice. And what he tells us is to find 3 things that we are grateful for every day. Can't be the same 3 things every day. 3 different things every day. And instead of our brain looking for the negative, which, if you turn on the television and read the newspaper, whatever, it's just filled with all the negative. But find 3 things we're positive for, and maybe even share those with someone, whether it's in an email or in a Facebook post, or hey, think about this, just telling your significant other the 3 things you're grateful for. We begin to scan for the positive instead of just the negative. This idea of journaling, writing down those positive experiences that we've had in the last day. What it actually does is it allows our brain to relive what we have been through. And the amazing thing about the brain is it can't tell the difference between when we actually went through it and when we're reliving it. And so those healthy neurochemicals are all coming back again. Exercise teaches us that what our body does matters. And even if it's something as simple as walking, getting out and taking a walk. There's a reason that all these devices today, measure 10,000 steps. It goes back to a Japanese study back in the 1960s that said, an active lifestyle, 10,000 steps a day. Health benefits go up. Very active lifestyle, 12,000 steps a day. Health benefits go up even more. So doing something as simple as that can matter to us. And then meditation, which is kind of some of the things we talked about the last couple of Facebook Live sessions that I did. It trains our brain to quiet the brain, to help us get over this culturally ADHD world that we've been living in for so long, and allows us just to quiet things down. And again, healthy neurochemicals are affecting us at that time. And then random acts of kindness and conscious acts of kindness. Looking for those opportunities, even in these challenging days today. For me, as an example, the other day I noticed I've got a neighbor that lives catty-cornered on the cul-de-sac with us. And he's a little bit older guy. And he was out trying to mow his yard. And he's got a younger son who usually mows it, but he broke his leg, and so he can't. And he was really struggling to mow the yard. And I was like, you know what? I can do that. And so I just went over and told him, I said, hey, Ron, let me know. I said, I'll come over. He goes, Dan, if you do that, he goes, just whenever you're mowing, if you want to come over, I got a rider. I can do it in 5 minutes. It's no big deal. So we can find those opportunities to do something further. Because here's the thing, not only did it help him, but it just so happens I just finished mowing his yard before I started this. I know how it made me feel. It made me feel good too. So those are the 5 ways to rewire the brain. But here's the other piece that I think is just vitally important for us to get. You know what? We got to give ourselves permission to be human. Because everything's not going to be perfect. We're not going to be happy all the time. We're not going to remember the 5 ways to rewire our brain, all that kind of stuff. It's not going to happen. So give yourself the permission to be human. Brene Brown in her writings said, that, we have to have the courage to be vulnerable. And you can't get to courage without walking through vulnerability. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's about being willing to put ourselves out there in these challenging times for ourselves and others. Well, guys, I hope you found this interesting. I really enjoyed spending time with you. Thank you for the gift of your time. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments, and I'll take a look at these over the next couple of days. Please share this with your friends and family if you think they would be interested. And just a reminder, David DuBose and I on Friday are going to do a Zoom that'll be live on Facebook also, about making decisions in these challenging times, and how can we make those practically wise decisions. And so you can look for that also. Again, thanks everybody. I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye-bye.